Welcome to another episode of Medicine Thoughts here on this beautiful medicine trail. The weather's just gorgeous today. It's so still here. So calming. I'm really grateful to be here. Took me a while to walk in here. Didn't bring any snowshoes, and the snow is all the way up to my knees in certain parts. But I'm glad I made the trek and didn't turn around. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. It's already pretty much the end of January. I know we had a wonderful time with our family, just focusing on some housework, quality time with the children, and doing our own little ceremonies as a family. But I was thinking, it was time to come do a little video again and just share some of my thoughts that kind of been flowing through my head the last few weeks. It all kind of started a while back when on Facebook one of my acquaintances, like an old coworker, attacked me. I don't know if attacking is the right word. Kind of confronted me, questioning my spiritual integrity because I spoke out against medical segregation that's kind of ongoing here in Canada and all over the world. Kind of pointing out that that person feels that because I don't believe in forcing people to a medical procedure that I shouldn't call myself spiritual and that I shouldn't help people. That person hopes that nobody ever will come to me for any spiritual guidance or help. And this kind of got the ball rolling. Me thinking about all kind of things, and I hope you bear with me. There's quite a few train of thoughts that will all kind of melt, funnel down in hopefully one coherent stream. That kind of got me thinking just about spirituality and assisting people in general. And I do believe that the number one kind of rule of spirituality is free will, free choice. We can't help people if they don't want help. And we can't force people to get help if they don't want it. That was something that was taught to me very early on this journey. And that was kind of my viewpoint on this whole mandate. Or just force medical procedures in general, Each and everybody should make their own choices of what they feel is the best for their own personal health. Be it a pill or a shot or whatever. Shouldn't be able to force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. But then this kind of led to me thinking about the whole conundrum that we're in as a society. People like being absolutely frozen and traumatized in fear, and also people truly believing that another group of people can put their life in danger just because they made another medical decision. And how this all ties in spiritually. And then I remembered that a while ago, maybe a year or two ago, I had a talk with our Sundance chief. And I kind of, at that time, I was contemplating, life in general. And at one point I thought, like, why is it that even though we're all native to Mother Earth and we all came from the spirit world to have a human experience here, why is it that we pay rent, buy land, pay for electricity? I was kind of like, who gave the electrical company the right to charge us for something that should be free for everybody, And yeah, I get it. We could open a huge can of worms here, but that was kind of my thought process back then. And so I talked to our Sundance chief, and he said, Steve, we're actually not paying for housing or rent to just live there. We don't pay for food per se or for the electricity. We pay for the convenience. And that instantly made sense. If you think in the old days, we would have to build our own structures. We would have to cut down trees, build our own homes, gather wood so we would have heat and light in the house. We would have to go down to the creek or the river, lake with buckets to grab our water. We would have to grow our food with our own labor, blood, sweat, and tears, I think. That's where the saying probably comes from. We would have to invest our own energy, our own time. And now we're paying for the convenience for it. And I believe there is a price to pay for convenience itself. We lost connection to our own labor. That feeling you get after you split a humongous pile of wood. The satisfaction you feel and the gratitude you have for this wood, because it's going to heat you, it's going to warm you for the whole winter. Gratitude is a price we pay for convenience. The loss of gratitude. Because we have become a society so accustomed to comfort and convenience. You can see it, we forgot how to be grateful. Just simply being outside, feeling the warmth of the sun on our face. Many people don't appreciate it anymore. Our meals, when we eat. How many of us eat the food with gratitude? Which is actually humongously important. Because if we eat with gratitude, we transform the food and it will give us subtler energy than we will get from the food if we just eat it unconsciously. And that goes for all aspects of life. Our health, for an instance. How many of us wake up every morning grateful for another day and that we have our health, that we have life? This is a miracle. And we can't see it. We've forgotten that the mere fact that we exist is an absolute miracle. And then this led me to think further. How has it come so far that we're so complacent? That most of us sit at home on the couch, watch TV, and believe everything that comes out of this little box. How has it come so far that human beings don't think for themselves anymore? That we rather listen to some elected official, which is an ordinary human being, tell us what we need to do with our lives. Then I remembered a while back ago I spoke to a Leonard Cardinal. He's a wonderful man, him and his wife. They're amazing people. They run a company called Thunderbird Inc., land-based teachings in Alberta. And I encourage you guys all to look them up. They do wonderful work. We talked about colonization. And Leonard told me, he said, you know, Steve, in a sense, First Nations people have been lucky that they were the last to be colonized because we still kept some of our knowledge, our ceremonies, and our wisdom. Because if you look in the greater scheme, like the European indigenous culture, like the Celts, the, Vikings, whatever, the Druids, the ones that had knowledge of the land too, of ceremonies and medicines, they were colonized so long ago that Western cultures are absolutely like so disconnected that they're wandering aimlessly. And I had this realization that this was all done by design. Because if you look at indigenous cultures and the way they live their lives, connected to the land, their food, their medicine, the creator, their community, people like that, you can't govern. They govern themselves in harmony with the things that are around them, with the land. They have reverence for it, a connection to it. And if you live like this, in a community like that, with an understanding like this, you can't just take advantage of the land, the animals, the people. It wouldn't work. So I think there has been an ongoing effort for thousands of years to take those things away from people. The connections, the communities, the reference. So that eventually people would be, how should I word this? Okay with pretty much sitting in their house all day watching TV and only to care about themselves. And I think it was done with convenience. And I think that's why we find ourselves in the dilemmas we're in right now. Because if people still would think for themselves, do their own research, or just take their own lives in their hand, their responsibility for their own health, we wouldn't blame each other for what's going on right now. It's easier to point fingers and say, it is your fault that we're still in this pandemic, that we're still having all those cases. It's much easier doing that than to look at oneself and say, hey, what am I consuming each and every day? Do I get enough exercise? How much time do I spend on the land, breathing fresh air? Do I care about other human beings around me? And could I lift them up instead of pushing them down and blaming them for the things that are not going right around me? I mean, I could talk for so long about this stuff, but I just want to be careful that it stays coherent, and also that I get to the point that I'm actually trying to make, which I think I did, I hope. The beautiful thing about those videos is that they're pretty non-scripted. I just walk out in the bush. Granted, I had thoughts kind of in my head for the last few weeks, but then I just come out here and share with you guys. Ultimately, my point, and now we're gonna try to all put it in one a conclusion, if you will, is that I think that for a long period of time, the effort to break up or to destroy indigenous societies and worldviews and connections to the land and all there is was done on purpose in order to subjugate and easier control the human population, to make them dependent to the system, to the convenience, to the comfort, and to make us docile. And ultimately questioning this, I think, is a spiritual thing to do. Everything we do in life has consequences. Every action has a reaction. And I know that the price we pay for convenience is a hefty one. It costs us so many things. We pay for it with life energy. It's been 2 years since we moved away from the city on the land, and I wouldn't trade it for anything anymore. It's been the best time of my life. It's a lot of work, but it's amazing. Ultimately, I all hope we can kind of step out of our comfort, out of the convenience, and build something new coming out of this pandemic, where we are going back to communal ways of living, supporting each other, finding different medicines than the ones that come in pill form. We asked in a ceremony once, or I did, about my children when Ura just was born, and medications or vaccines in general. And don't take my word for it. Everybody has to do what they want to do with their own lives and what they feel is right for themselves or their children. But the spirits told me, the answer they gave me was, it's up to you what you choose. But if you choose to go the old ways, the natural ways, we have every medicine that you could ever need in your family. And for me, at that point, it was clear. It's all medicine around us. And we need to reconnect to this medicine, the land, everything, the trees, the moon, the sun, the stars. We wandered too far off the path. Away from what is natural into a concrete jungle. And it's easy how you can see that one represents life and the other one represents death. Health, sickness. And every sickness is sent here to us by the spirit world to teach us something. I truly hope we all learn our lesson so that we can heal, not just individually as a community or a species, but collectively, you know? Anyhow, thank you for listening to me rambling on, sharing my thoughts. Yeah, I love you all very dearly, and I will track along this medicine trail for a little bit longer, and then waddle my way outside the forest here. Thank you. And I hope we all can step out of our comfort zone a little bit and work together hand in hand to find our way back to a little bit more sustainable future, a more natural future, a more loving and kinder future.